Welcome back to the podcast. This week we're discussing kit, but not how we've discussed it before. We're talking about upgrades, and we're looking at it from the point of view of a professional, a career person. And I've got some examples, like physically examples. There's loads of stuff on the floor down here. There'll be a bit of show and tell. I'll try and make it suitable for radio. We'll see how that goes, but you may want to watch this one. So we're talking about software, lenses, cameras, grip, lights, and modifiers. Because I've recently sold a load of kit. Were you here when we're selling all the kits?
Yes.
We just literally offloaded everything. And we only kept the good stuff because we'll get into the why, I suppose. So Rob and I are going to go through this. I'm going to tell you what I've done and why, and Rob knows all the techie stuff behind most of it. Because a lot of the time I ask Rob what I should do because I don't necessarily know. So we're going to go through all the things you can upgrade, why you should upgrade them, why you shouldn't upgrade them, and what you gain by doing so. So we're going to start with what I call raw readers or editors, which is your software. So we all upgraded on our motion side from Premiere to DaVinci.
Yep, we did.
Because, number one, DaVinci grades better. Or it's easier to grade in DaVinci.
That was not my number one reason, interestingly.
No. And number two, everyone who uses Premiere will be familiar with, say this is called podcast episode 16, copy, because it's crashed so many times and then emergency saves and adds the word copy, wasn't it, after each one? What was your reason?
Well, mine were basically flipped. So I suppose I had three reasons in total because, as you know, I was an early adopter of the whole Blackmagic. The first one was while working on a project that had to go to a cinema, crashed, could not solve it.
Yep.
Like ripping what little hair I've got left out.
Yep.
And you're on a deadline and it has to be delivered on a certain date or it doesn't get to be screened. And all of this is quite important for a project, especially when you, again, as a working professional, not necessarily as a hobbyist or, you know, a YouTuber on your own schedule. It was like, no, Rob, this has to be in the cinema, in this format, on this date, or this does not get to screen.
Exactly.
And there's a whole chain of stuff booked after that. So that kind of mattered. So as... fortunately, being legitimate and not jacking the software, I've contacted Adobe support. They dropped in on the old BOMGAR on the computer. This guy tried for about 4 hours to try and solve the problem, and he rage quit. So everything you needed to know about Adobe, in my opinion, just disclaimer, right there. And then
it's interesting. That has been my experience. I had a problem with Lightroom. So this is the motion side of things. What most of you are probably interested in is the still side, but this is the motion side. Lightroom had so many bugs. The tethering would never... I had them come in, remote access. They'd reinstall it. They'd do this. They got me to reinstall my entire machine. Still bugs. Bugs. And one of the best reasons to upgrade software is because your current one doesn't work. Now, if we leave motion side away for a second, so there's fewer people interested in that, but if we look at Adobe Lightroom, this is the most probably, I assume it's still the most popular editing software for photographers.
I would say so, yeah.
Or most commonly used. For years, the tethering was awful. Apparently it's better now, but it's still not as good as Capture One. The way that it opens a RAW file and interprets that RAW file is not as good as Capture One.
Yep. You have done whole videos on
I
this.
have. People still deny it. Like, it's not the same. I've even had Capture One explain why it's not the same. The way the sliders work is not as good as Capture One because an exposure slider is not equal in every bit of software.
No,
there's an algorithm behind it.
And everyone is, built from the ground up by that particular software manufacturer.
So, however, as an amateur doing it as a hobby, who doesn't want to spend as much money as physically possible, the obvious answer is you get the Lightroom and Photoshop combo. Because you need to get Photoshop anyway.
Yeah.
Photoshop is industry standard. It is awful, but it's industry standard. There is nothing better than Photoshop. Despite all of its shortcomings, it is the best. And even if it wasn't the best, it is industry standard. However, if you want to instantly upgrade your camera for less than the cost of a camera, go and get Capture One. If you want to instantly upgrade your video editing, instead of getting a better camera, go and get DaVinci Resolve.
And the free version of DaVinci Resolve is infinitely better, in my opinion, disclaimer, than the paid version of Premiere Pro, which I do pay for, even though I don't want to because I'll have the whole cloud.
Same, I've got the whole cloud.
I do use the graphic design tools, the holy trinity of InDesign, Illustrator and Photoshop almost daily.
Do you know what I've replaced InDesign with? Canva.
Okay.
And as awful as it sounds, Canva's better than InDesign.
From certain points of view, I would believe that.
It's anything like we do all of our treatments, all of our estimates, all of our documents for pitching. Used to be done in InDesign, not anymore. Everything in Canva. It's quicker. It's better. It's easier to use because InDesign has its own set of hotkeys that don't relate to anything else in the living world.
Well, that's because Adobe didn't build it.
Yeah.
They literally bought, I can't remember what the actual base software was, but Adobe bought it, rebranded it as InDesign, which is why none of your shortcuts work. And for, again, professional graphic designers will struggle to pull a gradient into InDesign because it's like the most illogical way of making a gradient on a thing that you've ever seen in your life. And especially if you want to turn that into a transparency mask. Oh, God. It's like opening the hell mouth.
I know. It's just, honestly, give Canva a try. I was so skeptical. There is nothing, and we've got a professional design rover agent at large. There is nothing, I mean, he uses it now as well. There's nothing that you can't do in Canva if you pay for the premium version.
Yeah.
And also, and I don't understand why this is, it has this background removing tool. So if I'm doing a thumbnail and I want the text to come behind me slightly, you just hit background remove. It does a better job than Photoshop. I don't know why. It's better than Photoshop for background removal. You can't put raw file, obviously it's not a replacement for that, but like for design work, if you need to do a bit of design work, you just like select a bit of one image, put it onto a background. Canva is your friend. And then you can share it as a web link. So if you've got videos in your treatment, Canva's brilliant. Anyway, I digress from that. But yes, if you want to upgrade your image quality for the cheapest amount of money without, upgrade to DaVinci or upgrade to Capture One. If you're a hobbyist, you don't want to be paying Capture One and Adobe Lightroom Photoshop.
No,
Just stay with Lightroom. It's not like you go, oh, Lightroom's so bad it's unusable.
No, and again, you got to understand where the images are going and at what level as well. And so again, as a hobbyist or enthusiast, and a jobbing photographer, let's just say that people that do like multiple different things for different people on different deadlines, unless it's going on billboards and all the rest of it, most people probably will never see the difference.
Exactly. Yeah, unless you're shooting something insane, like Lightroom's fine. Like I could edit most of my work in Lightroom. I don't because it's better and easier in Capture One, and the price difference is insignificant compared to the cost of a job. And it has loads of extra features for like client workflow and tethering and all the rest of it. It's really good. So, but yeah, I think upgrading your raw reader, that's my take on that. I'm ticking these off as we go so we don't miss one, which is what I'm leaning over. Lenses. So the old adage goes, spend more money on your lens than your camera because the lens makes the biggest difference. And I would agree with that to a point. I think lenses, historically, for 35mm cameras, were nowhere near as good as they were by 2010. So if you bought like a Hasselblad lens or something like that in the 80s, that was a banging lens. Banging lens. Probably not quite up to digital sensor standards, but it was a banging lens. The Fuji 6.9 lenses, they're beautiful lenses. But if you bought a Canon zoom lens in 1980, it wasn't great. So even the L lenses, they weren't great back then. Even the 2470 Mark I, it was hit and miss as to which copy you got, as to whether it was good or not for the EF, and this is previous to that, the FD. Nowadays, lenses are pretty darn good. So I've got two lenses here. This is my original, this is probably the lens I've used most in my career, which ironically, I didn't pay for. This belongs to somebody else. It's a 100mm EF 2.8 ultrasonic motor macro lens. This is really good. I upgraded it to this. This is a Zeiss Milvus macro planar f2 100mm without autofocus. And it's a beautiful bit of kit. Now, this optically is ever so slightly better than this. It's probably 10 times the price, but it's ever so slightly better than this. But build quality wise, feel the two of those.
Oh yeah, I mean I've played with these. I mean, this does feel like, in comparison, all things,
Yeah.
because compared to the Nifty 50, this feels like a tank.
Yes.
But straight away,
it's cheap. It's plasticky.
Hopefully, people are going to hear that.
Yeah.
But as we take this beast,
yeah. Now, and what's interesting is, so this lens here had a particularly bad accident. You can see because the lens had fell off when it happened. See that chip just there?
Yeah.
This lens fell off of a robot through a table like this, smashing through a bowl of coffee and hit it from 4 meters up. And I sent it off to get repaired. All they had to do is dismantle it and remantle it, I suppose. And that is the only damage to it. Like, that's it. And I still carried on using it for ages after dropping it. I only sent it in for repair because I got like a downtime. I took a month off and I thought I'll just get it serviced and checked.
And everything's still tight as a drum.
Everything was fine. If this did the same thing, it wouldn't even go to repair because you'd be sweeping it up off the floor. Now, lenses are obviously like one of the problem with lenses is, and this is where I get to, people mistake upgrading with buying variety. So this is an upgrade. I had 100mm lens and I bought another 100mm lens. Buying a 50mm lens at this point is not upgrading my lenses, it's just buying a different lens.
Yeah, it's an additional lens.
It's an additional lens. And I think with that, people, not that they're confused with what they're doing, but I think they see it as, oh, I'll buy another lens. And it's another lens. It's not an upgrade. And having more lenses is not upgrading, it's just having more. Most of my work throughout my career has been done between an 85 and 105mm focal length. And I've upgraded various points. I've even downgraded throughout the years because it's not always a case that better image quality is better. So after this Zeiss lens, I downgraded to a lens and then I upgraded again. But it's because I needed something else from a lens that wasn't pure image quality. This lens here now is the lens we use for video work. We don't use it for stills anymore because obviously we've got the Cambo lenses. But this is my video like shooting lens on the Blackmagics.
Yep.
This, at the time of buying it, it felt really nice having. But on the grand scheme of things, this lens was almost as good and got the job done. So I think with lenses, you need to be careful because the first thing I do is check the DxO score, which is the most irrelevant score in the world. Because it's like, yeah, this is sharper. And I look at it with my eyes, I'm like, but I can't see sharper. I can't see more contrast. Yeah. This is great things. It's got like an additional coating on it, which helps control highlights better. So it's almost like having a bit more dynamic range.
And also, I mean, especially when you're on set and, you know, I mean, you've gone everything from a single light to a 14 light setup. Lights, when those coatings and controlling flare, I mean, I know you do love a bit of lens flare. It's like one of your things.
Yeah.
But you want it in a way that you can control it and it isn't obscuring the logo on the work. You've got everything perfect, but now your logo's obscured by a flare. So you've got to keep moving something about, you know, from that point of view, the better lenses generally control things like that better.
I mean, a better lens is better. But how much difference that makes to your real world, like, say for example, this cost 10 grand and this cost 1 grand, which is not the case. But say it did, and I had £10,000 to spend on a lens today, knowing what I know now and being at the point in my career that I'm now, I would buy this £1,000 lens and I'd do 9 £1,000 test shoots. I'd spend £1,000 10 times on test shoots because that will make me so much more money than buying this lens will.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm quite, like, obviously we've got a lot of fancy kit in here, but I'm quite...
You are Mr. Thrifty.
I am very thrifty. Like, we're just discussing...
hard as it is to believe. But...
we're just discussing a new car.
Yeah.
And I was saying how much money that car was and that it's a lot of money to spend when in the grand scheme of things, it's not at all. But I'm like, yeah, but I can still get to work for less.
Yeah.
I can still get the job done for less. And what would actually make the difference in this here is having £9,000 of test shoots.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got so much money that you can buy this and do £9,000 of test shoots,
more power to you.
Go for it.
Go do that, yeah.
But I would always invest. Everyone's like, invest most of your money in the lens. No, that's absolute nonsense. And it's not just in kit terms, but I would invest more money in test shoots and education than lenses. I spend, and I know this, my accounting software now has the option for me for the last few years. I spend more money on education and on test shooting than I do on camera kit.
Oh, for sure.
And it's not by a small amount.
Well, you actually don't buy, despite how it might appear, that much kit that often.
No.
I mean, when was the last time you bought a camera body?
3 years ago.
Right, yeah. When was the last lens you bought?
Last year, maybe? Yeah, last year.
I rest my case.
And then before that, 5 years ago.
Yeah, for someone who's like industry and does this all day, every day, and, you know, shooting multiple campaigns per year, you'd have thought you'd have been buying kit all of the time. At least that would be the perception.
Exactly. However, what I have learned is the longer you have a bit of kit for, the more you know how it works.
Mm.
I wouldn't want to upgrade my cameras, my video cameras, because I know how to grade them instantly. It doesn't take me long because I already know how to do it. I wouldn't want to change my lens because I know how it behaves. Like getting a new lens is a learning curve afterwards. Getting a new camera is, like when I moved to that Fuji from the Canon 5DS, I mean, I had that Canon 5DS for what, 8 years, 9 years?
Yeah.
Ragged them. I had 3 of them. Moving from that to medium format was such a pain because the Fuji RAW files are so different to the Canon RAW files. They're better in every possible way, but initially I struggled with grading, and I struggled with getting the density right. So I'd always been working like a 35mm sensor at 14-bit is thin. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's a thin file. Once you go to 16-bit medium format, it's a dense file. And trying to, I was always trying to add density. Now I'm trying to remove density to get to where I want to be. But it's definitely, you don't want to be changing too often. I mean, I was discussing buying a lens earlier today because we've got the 18 to 35 2.8 lens on my Blackmagic, and I've got 2 Blackmagics. And that lens is there for YouTube videos and also for the education platform. So if you go onto the Studio Access stuff, pretty much everything is shot on a Blackmagic.
Yeah.
Because that's what we use. And I was like, I need another one of those lenses because for multicam setups, it's just better to have
it makes sense.
Matching lenses. At the moment, we're using that and then a 24 to 105.
You do have that.
Yeah. Do you know what? I own more equipment for YouTube and the educational platform than I do for my professional photography career.
I mean, I don't like that 24-105 just for the obvious reason that the focus ring is almost impossible to use in a rig setup if you need to pull focus while you're working.
It is not for that, is it? It's in the worst place.
Image quality-wise, it's better than the Canon version. Yeah. Ergonomics, it's terrible.
Yeah, I would buy...
For video, again, can you caveat that?
I would buy the Canon version that's not as good if I had my time again.
Yeah.
Because that, like you say, it is awful. It sucks, like for usability. But yeah, so we need another... And it just doesn't make that much difference. I think if I shot a campaign today on this lens here, or on my exceptionally good Cambo 90mm Actar lens, I would get paid the same.
Yep. And I will say, when you get into moving pictures, it matters even less.
Yeah, because there's so much going on, you don't notice it as much. So good. And however, I obviously use the best lens I can get hold of, which for the camera I have now is the Cambo lens. That is the best lens for that system. And then I have the best sensor on the back of it that I can use, which isn't a phase 1 because I just can't justify the cost for the increase in image quality. The phase 1 is better than the Fuji GFX, hands down. However, it's so much more expensive, doesn't make sense. Of course, with Hasselblad's new potential entry to tethering, it might well be a Hasselblad soon, but I'm fickle like that. It's like, no loyalty, straight to the blad. But yeah, I think lenses are an interesting one because the old adage is always spend money on a lens, save on the camera, that was true when I started my career in 2009. That is not as true today. You can get a cheap lens that's good today.
Yeah, but what I will say also on lenses, on that point, in terms of where you should put your money, I would say the old adage still rings true, but now for different reasons, in that a camera body is obsolete in 5 years.
Well, I think it's obsolete socially.
Yeah.
However, I'd say that any camera made since the 5D Mark II era for stills, yeah,
100%, it's still
is absolutely relevant.
Enough.
Yeah,
but you'll get 20 years out of a lens in terms of relevancy.
Yeah, lenses don't go out of like
like you say. I think since the 1980s to today, and I don't want to think about how long that is because I remember both decades. Lenses have got significantly better wear. Even the cheap, 80 quid plastic fantastic is optically a quite a good lens. So, because again, manufacturing's improved and various things now, the gap between the expensive stuff and the cheap stuff has absolutely narrowed.
Yes.
But I don't see that happening again in another generation. I don't think you're going to see the same difference moving forward. I think now you're moving into where things are now being built by accountants rather than engineers again. So I think you're at the sweet spot now of anything made in the last 10 years is good.
I agree with that. And I think, how much better can a lens... they're going to have to improve my eyes before they improve lenses any further.
Yeah,
I can't see it.
I think the thing that will change the most, I think, in the next 10 years won't be lenses, it'll be sensors. I think that's where they will reach the point where you have the same dynamic range in a digital sensor that you do in a human eye.
Yes.
which allegedly was 21 stops.
Yeah, I believe so. That's what
I
I
think that was the magic number. I'm going to go with that as if it's a real fact, but don't quote me on that 'cause it's probably wrong.
Yeah.
But I believe that was
alternative facts.
I believe that was the number. That 21 stops is the sweet spot. And you've got people claiming. I mean, for sure, there's certain systems can prove 16 stops, knocking on 17, 18 stops. So it's getting up there.
Yeah, and I think cameras are actually the next thing I was going to talk about. So it's kind of a good segue there. Good segue. And I think like with cameras and stuff, like take a era of releases of 35mm cameras, say full frame digital cameras. So if you say that the year that R5 came out, every brand's full frame camera. Now you'll see these videos comparing them. There is there's differences between each one. There are differences, but it doesn't actually matter which one. The only choice you should make with your camera, if you're a pro, is have my mates also got the same one. So if you suddenly go, oh my God, my bag's been nicked out of the car, and you can phone your mate and be like, Dave, check your R5 down here quick. Or you go, oh, I need a lens and the rental house doesn't have it, or they can't get it in time because the job's too short notice. You phone Dave up. Dave, have you got a 1635? Because we've got the same camera brand.
Yeah.
And like I've always got people coming here to borrow bits and pieces, and it was better when I shot Canon because they're always like, oh, can I borrow this flash? I haven't got the flashes anymore. Paul wanted to borrow one of my flashes. And I was like, yeah. I went to the drawer where the there's flashes on it. There's none in there. I'm like, oh, well, they're all borrowed or gone. I don't know. So I think with cameras, if you want to upgrade your camera, don't upgrade the model, upgrade the size of the sensor.
Yeah.
Assume you want better image quality. Like you might want more portability, in which case reduce the size of the sensor. But assuming you want better image quality, instead of going, oh, I've got an R5, I get an R5 Mark II, it's got better image quality, which on a piece of paper it does, buy a bigger sensor.
Yeah. And I think it's, in most cases, again, image quality being equal, it's far better to buy a full frame 35mm second hand than to buy the latest and greatest brand new crop sensor. Absolutely.
I would put sensor size over I would rather have an early 2000s phase 1 back on that what was it called? DF body. I'd rather have one of those than I would a brand new crop sensor camera. Whether I'm doing portrait, especially if I'm doing portrait. More if I'm doing portraits, I would go and buy a P25 back and chuck it on the old phase bodies, which were like the Mamiya 645. So sometimes it says Mamiya DF or something like that. And sometimes it says phase 1, but it's the same body. It looks like a fill. It's a 645. I'd chuck that onto there, get the leaf shutter lens. I would not buy an R5 if I was a portrait photographer, but I'd get that. CCD sensors for skin tones are delicious. And that's what I'd go for. Make sure you can find a tether cable though, because it's something like and I'm going to get this wrong, it's like a 12-pin firewire, something like gold dust. And they convert it into a Mac USB-C. It's doable, but the cables are expensive and rare. Yeah. So, like, if you're going to buy one, make sure it comes with the tether cable.
That is a niche cable.
Yeah, it's like,
let's be honest.
It's not what you're after. But yeah, I think like with cameras, I've had many cameras over the years. I've had shooting professionally 5D Mark 1, 5D Mark 2, 5DSR, Fuji, which I suppose I say many cameras over 15. Well, it's more than 15 years, isn't it? But over
way more. I mean, I've been doing this 13 years, so you were a good 5 to 8 years ahead of me.
Yeah, probably like 20-something career. And obviously the 5D Mark 1 to 5D Mark 2 is quite a short life cycle. I think I only had the 5D Mark 1 for a year before I upgraded. I got one from like a closing down sale somewhere for like 600 quid. And then as soon as I could afford a 5D Mark II second hand, I bought one, then another one, then another one. I mean, I've had many bodies. It's not like I've just had a 5D Mark II. A
lot of them were 5D Mark IIs.
I think I went like 6, maybe 7 of those.
We've had a lot of those.
Because we used to shoot events, weddings, everything. Everything.
I mean, that camera was a game changer.
Yeah, it was brilliant. It was still brilliant. I've got my original one framed behind my coffee machine over there. It's a tank. It's had like 2 or 3 shutter replacements.
And let's not forget, that was the camera that started the DSLR video revolution.
Absolutely. Which is the first time I did videos. My first YouTube video was shot on the 5D Mark II. And it's a great bit of kit. I just think like the difference between that and what I'm shooting on today is reasonably large. But the difference between that and an R5, it's not that big. It's just not that big a difference.
Oh, no, there isn't. I mean, functionality behind the scenes, and especially when it comes to video, yes. Massive, huge differences. I mean, things like the dual pixel autofocus.
Yeah, amazingly
just
better.
complete game changer. But again,
but here's the thing. So and everyone's like, oh, we usually sort. When I had my 5D Mark II, I was predominantly a music photographer. Guess how many of my shots were out of focus?
well, none.
None.
Yeah.
Like, it's great having more autofocus points, but if it wasn't out of focus before,
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you just get into that. I mean, I'm the same because I've run 60s.
yeah,
Like, you just get into that focus recompose in a split second kind of
Yeah.
motion that it just becomes second nature.
I only use a single point in the center. Never missed a shot.
I mean, point recently, I was lent an EOS R, not the precursor to the R5,
Yeah.
their first mirrorless. Oh my God, it's awful. Like, I just could not get on with it at all. Trying to get it to focus on anything was not nigh on impossible.
Yeah, it's a complication, isn't it? I suppose it's the. But yeah, I think like if you're going to upgrade a camera, step one, upgrade the sensor size.
Yeah.
Unless you're in motion, still's only sensor. If you're in motion, yeah, an R5 Mark II is perhaps the best camera on the market today for a hybrid shooter. If you don't want to run like we do, I run a Blackmagic for video with B-RAW and a Fuji 100 megapixel medium format. If you don't want to do that twin sort of thing, get the R5.
Yeah, if you just have one camera to do them all.
One camera to rule them all.
That's them all. I mean, you talk about cameras. I mean, I've owned 5 cameras. I bought 5 cameras in my life. If we exclude the action cams, the GoPros, and what have you, and the drone and what have you. So if you just look at like camera things with a detachable lens, let's do it that way. I bought 5 cameras in my life, and I still own 4 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Still got a pair of 60s that I use for stills, and a pair of Blackmagics that I use for video.
Yep.
And that's it. I've been ruthlessly efficient in terms of that. And my one upgrade was from a 650D APS-C to a full frame 6D.
That's a
the
big
one
upgrade.
and that was a good upgrade.
That's a good upgrade.
And that was it. Never looked back.
Yeah, I fully agree. I was thinking if you're going to upgrade a camera, sensor size, unless there is, like I say, there's a specific niche thing you need. Like my friend had to buy, this was back in the day, he had a 5D Mark III and he had to buy a 1D Mark IV because he was a press photographer and his new press agency needed audio information recording to the still file for some reason.
Okay.
So, and it had a microphone in the back of it and you could leave a voice note attached to the file. So he had to buy them for that. But I mean, like if you've got to do that, you've got to do that. Like there's no workaround for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's that side of things. Now I'm going to briefly touch on grip because I've come a cropper by being a tight git recently. So back in 2016, which is a decade ago, which is terrifying, I purchased the Neewer C-Stands, Neewer, Neewer.
Yep.
Neewer. I was like, wow, Matthews ones are what, £500 each. These are about £100 each back then. So I bought 15 C-Stands with arms and knuckles. I've had to replace 50% of the knuckles because they've broken.
Mm-hmm.
And more recently, I'm having an issue that the turtle base, the legs, they have an Allen key bolt that you have to tighten up occasionally because they loosen and the legs wobble out of them. The bolts are starting to round.
Mm.
And it's not like we're putting an insane amount of torque through them.
No.
We're talking they're rounding off. They're rusting in places. They're getting they're just, I mean, it's a decade. But I know that if I bought Matthews, it would have lasted me my entire career and then someone else's entire career.
Yeah, but that's that whole cost versus. So you could buy 5 of the newer ones for the cost of one of Matthews.
Exactly, and that's where I was at the time.
And if you get a decade out of one of it for 100 quid, so that means for the same spend you get 50 years.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, it is. But now, like, I've got to go and buy loads of new C-Stands.
Yeah, well, or a bunch of bolts and some Loctite.
Maybe. Yeah,
that's what I would do.
I'll show you them
If
later.
you don't want them, I'll have them, and that's exactly what I'll do with them.
Yeah, I mean, I replaced the wheels and everything in my salon stand because that's a 1980 stand. I was like, the wheels are jacked. I mean, it's not great still, but repaired that. Cost me 100 quid in parts.
Yeah, but like anything from the 1980s, it can be fixed.
Yes, and I mean, this light stand, you can't see this, obviously, guys, holding the 1200 up. That's a 1970s light stand. That's going nowhere. That's built. That's built to last.
Yeah.
But grip, we also bought some cheap super clamps that weren't so when you buy a super clamp, Manfrotto is the cheapest you go.
Yeah.
Bought some cheap ones, like threads all ripped out of them.
And the cheaper ones are only like 5-10 quid less than the Manfrotto. It's such a small difference. Just buy the Manfrotto one.
Just, yeah, I think when it comes to grip, if you've got cheap grip, go and upgrade it. And if you're buying grip for the first time, Martinelli things, all that sort of stuff, just buy the right stuff. It lasts your entire career. Same with tripods. These tripods I use, the, I don't know, Manfrotto ones,
Yeah.
they are tanks.
It's an unwieldy beast of burden, though.
Yeah.
I'll say that for it.
Yeah, I took 2 of them on location last week. But they're tanks.
Yeah.
Like they are repairable.
Mm-hmm.
They're, fixed, just built to last. Whereas I've been given other brand ones which are lesser than Manfrotto, and they're just all like with my usage.
Well, I mean, that one of mine, that Manfrotto, that's about 13 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, every couple of years you have to remember to tighten up again. Same thing. You have to,
tighten up those bolts.
Tighten up those bolts, but they do tighten up beautifully, and that's it.
Yes.
And that thing you can see by the scratches. I mean, I baby my gear, so for that to look that damaged, it's been through the wars a bit.
As you know, I do not baby my gear.
No,
if I'm putting tripods into the back of a car, I'm huffing. I'm like, whoo. In they go, smash.
I mean, I remember being on a wedding in the south of France with you, and you would have just took your 5Ds and just chucked them in the back of the car, and my face expression must have been akin to that of Starving Marvin from South Park watching Cartman eat wings.
Yeah.
That's the only way I was like, what are you doing? No, it takes no longer to place them. You're like, oh, we ain't got time for this. Get them in the car. And I was like, ooh, okay, this is how the pros roll.
I went to shoot a portrait of Brian Blessed years ago, and I had to change lenses. And my assistant was a little bit further away from me on this concrete floor, and I took my lens off and I rolled to him. It was like a £2,000 lens. He was like,
yeah.
I was like, swing me that lens. Sensors open.
Go long. Just like, no.
Yeah, no. I'm better with kit now, I think. I mean, not with grip. Grip gets thrown. But like, I wouldn't throw my cameras now. They're all in proper cases and all the rest of it.
Yeah, and that's an interesting one as well. And I think that's the thing. You go out and buy all the best you can afford and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
We've all done it. When you start off, you cheap out on the cases.
Oh, got to get some good cases.
Right. You either have no case, you just chuck it bare back in the boot of the car, or you buy a cheap case, or just like a tripod stand and try and put like C stands in it and realise they don't fit. But you MacGyver it a bit. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. And I've always spent money on bags.
You have always spent money on bags.
I've just upgraded or replaced. I've got a new Billingham, because these are my favourite daily bags. So I used a Billingham bag like this, but without the handle on the top. Can't remember what model it is. But I had one of those. I got it in 2010, and I used it every single day. Well, it's my laptop bag. When we shot abroad, it took cameras and lenses in it in case we lost stuff in the hold. Overloaded it. Like, again, I don't baby my stuff.
I mean, you had it before I met you, and I never saw you go on a shoot where you didn't have that with you.
Yeah, even like just have my laptop in it. A spare t-shirt. Always take a spare t-shirt on set in case you get a bit hot and sweaty.
That is a hot tip.
Yeah, always. Bit of deodorant, baby wipes, and a spare t-shirt and some breath mints.
Yeah.
But yeah, like good bags. I mean, we use the Think Tank Logistic Managers, the biggest ones you can get. And we get a Scoro pack, 2 heads, reflectors, grids, everything into it. Get 2 of those in the car.
And it survives the journey without damage.
You don't really with that aperture lights, I just ram those into, because aperture comes with these brilliant big bags, but there's so much padding in them to get 4 lights into the car. The whole car's full, so I just chuck them all into one thing. They're like bouncing around together, but they don't like that so much. But I wouldn't do it to a Bronco head because they're a bit more expensive.
No, but I mean, aperture lights aren't cheap. Let's be honest.
No, but they're less than a £12,000.
Yeah. I mean, for sure, less than that.
So yeah, I think bags are really important. Like if you're traveling, I've got a Pelly case. I've got 2 Think Tank airport managers, 2 Think Tank logistic managers, and then loads of aperture bags and various other bits. And then a really cheap Bowens bag that I've had for years that I once spilled fish sauce on it, and you can still smell it a little bit a decade later. I mean, I ran my apertures in there.
I think you've possibly got more fish stories than any working professional I know.
There's a lot of fish incidents over here. There was the one where all those fish turned up from Panama. Were you here when that happened?
Yeah.
That's why that fridge exists over there. I had to go buy a second fridge. This client sent this fish over, and it just came in bin bags from Panama with like alarms ringing because it had gone out. The smell was horrific.
With predictable results.
Yeah.
Now, for context, I know obviously this goes out to everywhere. Do Google where Leicester City is on a map. It's the most landlocked city, I think, on the planet.
Yeah, it is. You couldn't be further from an ocean.
So trying to get fresh fish here is, at the best of times, is a struggle.
But from Panama
in a bin bag, not the one.
There was so much of it. I had to spend £800 to get what we didn't use on the shoot and give away. So we gave loads of it away because loads of it was fine.
Yeah.
And a beautiful fish. I can't remember what it's called. Really nice fish. But we gave it all away, and then there was still so much in bin bags. It cost me £800 to get it removed.
To dispose of it.
I tell you what's even worse, that client never paid me. I think I lost £25,000 that job. They went bust.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Oh, that's still smart. So I got a fridge, had to throw a rug away, spent £800 on that, and I lost 25 grand on the job.
The eternal stench of rotting fish.
That was a bad day. Let's move on from that. So, lighting. Now, so I always get flack because people don't listen. Godox lighting is really good. Like, you can't go wrong with Godox lighting. However, the build quality is not that of Broncolor. The consistency is not, much like with sensors and different camera brands, like, it's not, it's like, Broncolor's like buying medium format. It's not like going from Canon to Nikon to Sony or whatever other brands are nowadays. It's going from one to the other. Pro Photo is pretty good. It's not like Pro Photo suffers with low flash power. If you're going on low power, you get inconsistency in color, and it suffers with the output frame per frame. If you're doing fashion portraits, it's brilliant for that. And it's got a way better fitting for modifiers because you don't have to go past the flash tube. Broncolor is just precision, but Godox is fine. Much like with my 5D Mark II, during that period I was shooting Bowens, which is Godox. It was made by, everyone's like, it's British-made Bowens. Guess which factory in China made the Bowens lights? And I went, oh no, let's not start a lawsuit with that. But let's, Godox make brilliant lights. And no matter where you're buying from, I hazard a guess that Godox at some point has had some part of production.
Yeah.
Because how many places are making that sort of stuff? Of course. Broncos was made in Switzerland. But they also went to Godox to make that flash trigger.
Yeah, but I say triggers, that's the bit. Yeah.
They had their internals put into it and all the software and everything put into it, but the shell was from Godox. Why not? They make great stuff. Like, Godox stuff is great. And it's good enough. If you're shooting day to day and you're not getting like a minimum of 10K a day for shooting, you'd be a fool to buy more expensive than Godox. And this wasn't the case when I started though. When I started, you'd be a fool to buy Godox. There's stuff. I remember buying 3 Godox speed lights. And they all turned up in slightly different boxes, and they're all slightly different despite apparently being the same thing. Like, that's not the case anymore.
Well, I've got a graveyard of Yongnuo flashes.
Oh my God, they were awful, weren't they? Yongnuo.
But again, in terms of an entry point into flash and wireless,
and 30, 50 quid.
Yeah, they were like super cheap.
Yeah.
Was it the 560 Mark I and then the Mark II? They were amazing things at the time while they lasted. And I had so many that I bought thinking you needed 15 lights, and then I met you, and then I'm like, you need 1.
Yeah.
So all of these were kind of archived, and then you bust them out of the archives, and you've done nothing with them. They haven't been sat there with the batteries in, but they just won't fire up anymore. It's like, why? What reason does this not fire up? It just won't. And it's like, oh, well, there we go. And that's the difference, It's like stuff like that is sort of cheap at entry. But then as time goes on, you realise, actually, now I've had to replace all of these. I could have bought one decent Canon speedlight, for example.
Exactly. And
that would still be working.
Back in the wedding days, the 580 EX2s, they were brilliant. Little batch pack on the side of them with like 8 AA's on it, and good to go for the day.
Yeah.
But I think so I shot it was just like a national campaign, and I shot that with a Godox 600, the battery one. It was fine.
Yeah.
I noticed these things more than most people probably do. It wasn't perfectly consistent in exposure or white balance, but it didn't matter. And it's like lenses. That lens isn't as sharp, but it doesn't matter. That camera's not as high resolution, but it doesn't matter. And I think for me, the Godox, if today I started up as a photographer and I was shooting on location, day in, day out, doing corporate headshots, Godox. Yeah.
And in the time, at least I've been doing this, the quality of the Godox products have got much better.
Oh, it's insane. The quality, they have this new line for video stuff. Is it Nold?
Yeah.
So good. We've used someone like Set before. So good. It is full-on film set quality.
But it's not that much cheaper than Aperture, and given the choice, you would use the industry standard, which is Aperture.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Aperture, as you know. I just got rid of everything in my studio video-wise that isn't Aperture. We had other brands, and I was like, nah, Aperture's better. The build quality is better. The cables are better. And this sounds stupid. The cables are better, because when you unplug that cable, not me, but my assistant, it hits the ground. Bang. if it's a cheap plasticky like connector, that is gone into a million pieces. And to show you that weight there, I've got show and tell down here. Try not to knock anything expensive over.
This is like back when I used to be a Kirby salesman.
So this here is a nanlite reflector. I don't know whether this is doing it justice at how battered that is. This was transported once. It's got 2 puncture marks in it, and it's no longer round.
Yes, that's that. The round left town a long time ago with that.
So that's had one travel. This here is my most battered broncolor reflector. This has got dents in it, but it's still fine. This, and the reason I've chosen this one, this gets transported on every shoot, and it's still round. It's not perfectly round anymore, but it's still round. It's not square, and it's just like I've had to re-rivet these. If I tried to reattach this to this, it would just explode.
Well, you just wouldn't you chuck it in the bin and buy a new one?
Yeah, I mean these are so like cheap. I'm going to drop this. It's going to be loud. Like I can bend it with my hands, and yeah, these are what, 30 quid. This is 200. But if it's a one and done usage. And this is a 50 years of, well, this was last Rev.
And having been attacked by a pack of lichens.
Yes. I mean, this one here is like, it's getting a bit loose again here. I need to retighten the rivets or re-rivet it at some point. But yeah, it's fine. It's just a great, light quality, this is better. Build quality, this is better. Cost per use, this is infinitely better. And you can fix it with a rubber, like I can't hammer this out.
No.
It's too flimsy. I've dented these really badly before, like full on like bulges on the inside. Just hammer them out with a rubber mallet. And it takes it. You can see I've hit it before with the hammers and stuff.
Bit of a junior panel beating.
No, absolutely. And I think, let me just get rid of these here. Nearly fell off my chair. And I think it's worth considering that. It's like, right, am I shooting from my home studio? In which case, yeah, Godox lights and Godox modifiers, they will be fine. Am I traveling to different locations every day with my lighting kit? Godox lights are fine. Modifiers might not have the build quality. Am I traveling regularly to extremely high-paying shoots? Broncolor. Like, it's like...
And again, back to the quality of the case that you transport it in.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And also, wait there, I've got another bit of show and tell. I'm going to try and bring this up here without, like, smashing everything and causing great damage. Because these are heavy. Oh. This is a graphite pack, a graphite A4. This can freeze action. It's got 3,200 joules of flash power. It takes 3 heads in it, which are like, what, £1,000 each. But you can buy these now for between £1,000 and £2,000. I've had this repaired. So they say it's not serviceable, but I think Pear Tree did it for me. Get it repaired. I mean, it becomes a bit of a Frankenstein thing. I think I've got loads of like half-broken ones there. Like my old Bowen system.
Trigger's broom.
Yeah. Pocket Wizard, best trigger ever made. Always works. Like, you just Pocket Wizards. But like, you can get this for cheap. Now, I wouldn't recommend getting this and broncolor heads if you don't need them, because Godox will be better for you. Like, this is heavy. This has to be transported and stored upright. This is prior to where you can lay them on your side. I've had to move this, so I think it's covering my entire head. They aren't light. But if I had a pack shot studio, you know, we just photographing products in white background, I'd be highly tempted by that proposition.
Yeah.
Better consistency, better color accuracy, good build quality. But on the flip side, Godox gets the job done.
And the price of the heads are considerably different cost.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like...
Because what you can buy that for is not dissimilar to what you can buy on a modern, brand new Godox pack for that does a similar job of the pack. I mean, using similar, but
yeah,
the head's just different level altogether.
I mean, yeah, so like a brand new... I can't remember how much, let me Google it. So Godox do a 2400 joule pack, which I've never seen anyone buy. I had one in the studio for a bit, actually.
You did. That's kind of why that was prevalent in my mind.
Yeah, 2400. There we go. Flash. So that's why I realised I should have bought this instead. There we go. 24. So £5,600 for 2 heads in the pack. So for the same in Broncolor world, it would be 16,000.
Yeah, so 3 times the cost, roughly.
The one I really like from Godox is the AD 1200, which I did buy. I got given them. I got given a few AD 1200s. £1,500 pack and head, and it's got a battery solution as well. If I was doing a bit of everything and I was out and about, I'd be tempted by that. £1,200.
Yeah, again, you could buy 4 of those for, you know.
Yeah, it's a bargain. It wasn't. It's not as good as the Broncolor, but it's not as expensive.
Yeah, and in terms of portability and power, you know, on location, it's as good and practical.
It was very versatile. If I was out shooting on location, I'd probably go for that. I mean, Broncolor Maker is called the Move Pack, and Pro Photo have a few battery options actually. Much more. They're much more versatile and like out and about use. Pro Photo are, whereas Broncolor is very much like still life studio, like nerds like me. But yeah, I think if you're going to upgrade your lighting, I would have a very long, hard think about where you want your career to end up. Because lighting is the sort of thing that once you're in it, you're in it. If you go down that Godox line, getting out of it is going to cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you go into the Broncolor line and go, I'm going to switch to Pro Photo, you're about to hemorrhage cash like you've never seen before. I think there's 2 bits. There's one is like, what do I need today? What do I need right now? And the other is, going forward, where am I going to end up? So I ended up investing loads into Bowen stuff, loads, and I'm like, great.
Which, in fairness, was at least back then considered the industry standard.
At the level I worked at, yeah. Not the level I work at now. Yeah, it's always been Broncolor at the level I work at now. But yeah, back then it was very much like most people use, like your jobbing photographer, Bowens. Bowens, or something like if you're fancy, you had Elinchrom. That was a bit fancy, a bit premium. So yeah, I think with lighting. And again, much like with lenses, don't think that you're upgrading your lighting by buying different modifiers. Like,
no, again, that's buying additional.
Yeah,
is what you're doing.
So, I mean, obviously, there's a lot of stuff in here, and it looks like I've got a lot of modifiers. But really, it's like we're shooting portraits. Where's it gone? Whoop, up here somewhere. Para. We get the para out. Food where we don't need, or the shape of the reflection doesn't matter. Para. Food where the shape of the reflection matters. It's either the hazy light if I want a square diffused, or it's a reflector.
Yeah.
That's what I use. Like, that is pretty much lighting.
And I think it's, you know, again, if we look at the cost of things, which, you know, I consider very important.
Yes.
When we were talking about super clamps earlier, the knockoff super clamp is only a little bit cheaper than the Manfrotto one. So therefore, it's worth investing the extra little bit of cash. And I think the same is true with lighting to a certain point. Now, we talked about Neewer earlier. Now, for context, I own Neewer lights, and some of them are great. But if I was, again, to do all that again, starting today, I would pay the extra bit of money and go Godox. So I think for the extra bit of money, it is better. But a lot of people say, well, Neewer's just rebranded this, that. But, you know, there's a lot of the same things. But I think, you know, as a generalization, Godox is probably 20% more expensive than Neewer.
That's not bad, right? Yeah.
At least at the entry point, and then Godox goes much higher in terms of what you can spend on it. So I would spend the extra bit of money, go down the Godox route for sure, and have that be my starting main system for sure. And then, because the next leap then is, as you say, you're then into this realm, which is 3 to 4 to 5 times the cost at a minimum. But I think if you're moving in that direction, I think you've got a good starting point and enough longevity to get you through a decade, probably with Godox.
I agree.
Before you would need to move that, and I think that's probably a good place to start if I was doing it again.
I think like you cannot go wrong with buying into the Godox system. If you buy it secondhand, even better, because you're not going to lose money on it.
No.
So like in our studio, all stills are shot with Broncolor, all video is shot with aperture. I think aperture is the best bang for buck video lighting. But once you go beyond aperture, it gets silly expensive.
Oh yeah, you're into obscene.
And I think Godox is the best bang for buck stills. You go cheaper, you pay the price. You go more expensive, it's much more expensive. I personally would not downgrade to Godox because,
in your case, why would you?
Like, yeah, it would cost me more. Like post-production houses, which is what we have to use for our edits for our campaign. Like, obviously, like we're shooting a campaign next week. That's not going to a post house. We'll just do that internally because it's a national thing. It's not like going all over the place. But for a major campaign, it goes to a post house. So much so that they have to pitch on it to see which post house wins it, and it's so expensive. And if you deliver anything but impeccable files, the cost goes up. And guess who's left holding the bill? If my white balance is off on a few frames and they're trying to comp them all together and they've got to correct that, they get charged for it.
Yeah.
The exposure is not consistent throughout it, you get charged for it. And it's cheaper for me to buy Broncolor than it is to pay for post.
Yeah, especially when you're image stacking and whatever. It's just like...
Yeah. And then you've got the build quality is better and it's getting humped around the country all the time. And then you've got the the usability, everything's just better. But it's not so much better that you just go, you cannot have it. Like, you could shoot. I shot well, the work that got me to the point where I shoot the campaigns that I shoot today was shot on Bowens.
Yeah.
It was shot on Bowens, a 5D Mark II and that Goldring 100mm lens. To get me to the point where people went, yes, the only reason I have the nicer kit now is because I can see savings in it. I can see that long term, I make more money by having the better kit. And on some items, I go, I fancied that, I like that, and I've made enough money, I'll treat myself.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
If I started again today, doing still life and portraits like I do now, I'll buy a 5D Mark III because it's slightly better than the Mark II. I'll buy the 100mm prime and I'll buy some Godox lights. And I reckon, obviously knowing what I know now, which is you don't get that benefit when you're starting out, I'd be shooting a global campaign in 12 months in that kit. And I would rock up to that shoot and use a rental house. I'd get a phase 1 and broncolor lights. But I do all my test shoots on the Godox.
Yeah.
I do all my test shoots in the 5D Mark II because it's fine. It's fine. It's not good enough for a big shoot, but for day to day.
Yeah. And again, anything that's going on online, more than good enough.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is, the only thing I would change, I wouldn't use diffused modifiers or anything claiming to be able to be parabolic by any brand that wasn't Broncolor or Breeze. I might use Elinchrom softboxes, actually. They're quite good. I'd probably, like, if I was a big soft light fan, I'd probably buy the Elinchrom Rotolux and some of their indirects and just convert them. If I wanted to do parabolic stuff, I'd buy a Broncolor Para. You know, if I wanted a zoom reflector.
Because it is properly parabolic.
It's parabolic, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I would say the diffusion material on cheaper brands really lets them down. The difference between a Broncolor Octobox and a Godox Octobox is immense. The price difference is not.
It's still quite a bit.
I mean, a big let's check this now. My Octobox was like 250 quid.
Yeah, it's that one up there, isn't it?
On the wall, yeah. What's a Godox Octa?
That's just out of shot, sadly.
Octa softbox. What's the price difference? So it's 250 for that. Oh, it's quite a big price difference. 80 quid.
Yeah.
I'd still spend the money on the better one. I just would. £80 for the same one.
Excuse me. It's my turn to cough now.
Yeah, we're all dying. It's probably the air conditioner that's making us cough, actually. I would spend, like, for diffusion material, it's worth the cost. I'd probably upgrade the reflectors, but the actual heads themselves, I'd use the Godox ones. I think that's kind of like what we've gone through here, I suppose, that ethos for upgrading kit.
Yeah, and spending your money in the right places, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think, again, you sit in here and you see all the kit behind me and you go, oh, I need that kit. If we look at the bits behind me here, there's a Para, which I use for portraits. I was given that Para. There's an Octobox, indirect Octobox by Bowens that I've used once in the last 10 years. There is a Broncolor Octobox that I used once on a test shoot. There's a Broncolor softbox that I used once on a campaign. And then there's a Bowens Sunlight that I used to use for almost everything, somewhere around there. Used to use almost everything and haven't used in years because it will catch fire if I put 3200 joules to it. So I have all that kit back there. I use the Hazy light because it's really convenient.
And you do love the light.
I love a Hazy, yeah. I use the Para. That's it. And then apart from that, it's reflectors. So there's a lot of, I mean, like, oh, get rid of the stuff. I'm like, yeah, but it looks cool when clients come in here. It's quite a cool space. You've got like the church pew and the nice coffee machines and got the good sound system. You've got the nice paper rolls in the background. These paper rolls in the background here, they don't get used. They're purely aesthetic. And people are like, oh.
Yeah, the ones you use are all over there.
Yeah. Like they're all out of shot.
Accessible.
Yeah. But it matters what it looks like in here. Like we've got a client in next week and it's just a small shoot, but it needs to be nice in here. It's got to be a nice space. It's got to be, and for me, it's got to be nice because I'm in here 7 days a week sometimes.
Well, you spend more time here than at home.
Yeah, I mean, most of my time at home, my eyes are closed. But like, we're in here all the time. There's always people coming and going. We've got visitors, we've got guests and all the rest of it. Like, the studio needs to be a nice place to work. And this is my studio. If I had a desk at home, it needs to be a nice desk to work at. I don't want crap all over it. I want it to be nice. I want it to be a place that I go, right, I'm here to work. This is a good environment. We have nice coffee here. Let's spend a fortune on coffee. We have like original artwork on the walls here. Things in here are nice. And it's not nice because it's better for anything. It's nice because it's nice to be nice. it's nice to have a good work. Like, you remember this was just a warehouse.
Yeah.
It was horrible in here. It was just like a horrible, empty warehouse. Now the kitchen's getting upgraded this year, I think, to something pretty. Because that was putting in a panic to have a job like the next week. So obviously when I moved into it, it wasn't like I was starting out. I was already shooting regularly, and all of a sudden I was like, I've got to build a studio and keep shooting. But yeah, I think, upgrade your desk space, buy some plants. That's my biggest. If you want to make an instant, like whatever your working environment is, if you want to instantly make it better, buy plants. Just go and buy some nice house plants.
Yeah.
It's like an instant upgrade, isn't it?
Yeah, well, in my case, I bought a little bonsai tree.
Yeah, but like just something living on the desk. Like, I think it's nice. Having nice drinks is good as well, I think. Like, whatever your drink of choice is.
I mean, the thing I have at home, I think I've shown you a video of my tiny little box office, which is the old box room in my house, which just made sense to be the office because it's not much use for anything else.
Yeah.
But I've got my 3 monitors that I kind of work with, and above it there's a shelf, what I'll call my shelf of inspiration.
Yeah.
So there's got some nice little things. I've got my little baby snap-on toolbox that I got when I bought the really expensive one. I've got my trophies from like the Midlands Movie Awards and the Leicester Filmmakers Club and stuff, and then I've got the Odin booties that Sarah Smith painted for me.
Lovely.
I've got my lament configuration, which people have said, please Rob, don't try and solve that.
Yeah.
And just nice little things like you just look at me and you think, yeah, that was nice. I remember I did that, and it's just it puts you in a good frame of mind too.
I agree. I think before any of these upgrades are talked about now, upgrade your workspace.
Yeah, just kind of declutter. Like I say, and I've got 3 Star Wars canvases behind me because obviously being Generation Jedi and what have you.
Yeah.
Kind of, that's a nice thing when you're on a Teams call or a Zoom call and that's on the back of your camera. It's kind of a nice thing.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's really good to have a nice workspace and a nice work life. I think like having it all like, just, I don't know, make it nice. I just have a good time, I suppose. But yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think about upgrades and kit and all the rest of it. How long have we bleated on it? Oh, nearly an hour. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, this got long.
It's supposed to be a short 20-minute one. It escalated. But there we go. We'll see you all next time.
That's a good place to park that.
Yeah. See you later.
Ciao for now.
Cool. Let's do it.